Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'll tell you something, it has been incredibly warm today. I'm a bit peeved off that the weather forecast said it was going to be overcast and it's been literally burning my head all bloody day. So, as those of you who are bald might appreciate, that it gets quite hot. And because you've got no hair, it sort of burns you a lot. So I thought I'd do another live stream. So I've been keeping you guys updated on what I've been doing in the pond. So someone recently left a comment regarding the surge that it's a bit more of a pre-filter, the same as the Tempest, and I would agree with that assessment. But it can be used as a filter in its own right as well. Um, so I'm in the garden trying to sort this mess out. Um, it's a bit of a bomb site, if I'm honest with you, but hopefully when we get the pond properly constructed and I figure out a way of sorting the pipework weight out, we can hopefully get this finished. So, without further ado, let's do a bit of a look around. First thing I want to talk about is pigeons. They're nicking all my cherries on this cherry tree. Bit annoying. Um, so as you can see, the cherries are trying to grow, but the pigeon keeps nicking them. Bit annoying, eh? I've got a cherry there. No doubt it'll come and try and nick that. Anyway, let's have a look what we've been doing. So, it's been a hard day trying to get this done. Hiya, Tony, T and Koi. Hope you're doing well. So, Tony, since you've just come on and you're one of two people watching, I thought I'd show you what I've been up to. Obviously, a lot of work has been going on. So I finally got the first layer of sleepers installed. What I tend to do, or what I need to do, is put a bed of cement underneath the actual sleepers because they're not completely flush, and it's something I've been putting off, to be honest with you, because it's a balls ache basically. So I'll just show you how it's looking. So I've just put the cement in there. As you can see, it goes all the way around. Also on the inside as well. Um, if you guys are doing any sort of cement work, I highly would recommend you sprinkle it with water in these hot weather conditions that we've got, because it will crack if you don't keep it moist for at least a couple of days. When cement or concrete sets too quickly, it has a tendency to crack, and that's what we need to put off as long as possible. So just keep it moist as long as you can. So as you can see, I've tried to get this as level as possible. So the level is not super level, but it's best I can really do. It's not too bad, I guess. On here, see how that's doing. That's pretty level on that side. Um, wonder, it's not too bad. Not too bad, is it? Um, so yeah, it's not too bad. It's reasonable, I think. So I've screwed it into the sides. I will need to do something there, such as putting a bracket on just to hold it secure against that piece of wood there, so we've got a bit of a join. Or I could potentially drill into the sleeper and... Right, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with signal lately. My video quality isn't crap like it was the other day. But if it is poor, I do apologise. I don't know what's going on with my internet connection lately on my phone. but this is just obviously through the wireless network, not through um, my wireless connection I've got in the house. It's not great signal outside, so I do apologise. So I've been working on these tank connectors here. Let's have a look. So here's one tank connector, which is going to be my overflow. We've got a tank connector here connecting. I've put that in solvent welded as well. And that's going to be the pipe out, the outlet to the pump. And then we have our return there, another return here. I've filled in these 3 holes here. Originally I did have a pipe that came out and a pump on the other side that ran through that pipe. I decided that it's probably not a good idea and got rid of that. And also got rid of this return here because it's very, very close if you have a look to the skimmer. So there's not a lot of distance there to sort out the pipe work. So I basically relocated the return there. So I've got return there, and there's a lot more room there for me to sort out a flexi pipe to the actual skimmer. Now, I don't know if my video quality was very good the other day, but I wanted to talk about the Yorkshire Koi skimmers, why they leak in the interior part here. Mainly because these screws come loose over time, down to the vibrations from the pump. So you just need to occasionally tighten them up. Obviously you probably want to put a bit of silicone up along the bottom and up to give it a bit more of a seal. But I highly recommend you screw the screws in from time to time just to tighten it up. So I've been using this Everbuild PVC pipe cement. It's good stuff. And you can get that off Amazon. It takes a couple of days to come, but it's pretty good stuff actually. So we've done some pipe work on this side here. As you can see, that's my return. Sorted out with a ball valve. If we just go over here, obviously I've got another piece of pipe on the end. It's all pressure pipe, guys, so it's good stuff. And we can put a rubber boot on there that will go to the actual skimmer. The signal keeps dropping. I have no idea why it keeps doing that. So as I was saying, there's an adapter on the bottom of the skimmer, which is about an inch in terms of width, and I can easily attach something to it. It's not the standard fitting, so I actually got that fitting off Lee from Japanese Water Gardens. So he always sells some good add-ons and extra parts, and if you're after really good parts for your pond setup and you're after adapters or pipe fittings or reducers or any sort of pipe configuration you need, speak to Lee, Japanese Water Gardens. He supplies a vast array of adapters that a lot of koi suppliers don't do. I've been to many koi suppliers and they have a limited amount of fittings, but when you're trying to adapt something, it can be a bit of a balls out when you're trying to figure out what size you need. So we'll just jump up here and go around the back. Been trying to tidy up round the back here with the cables. So that's the pipe there. It comes out that we're going to connect our pump. I was looking at my ball valves. So this is one of the ball valves, but unfortunately it seems to be a bit faulty because the O-ring here looks really bad. Doesn't seem to fit properly. So I thought that was a bit faulty. So I'm gonna have to go back to the supply shop and see if they're prepared to send me a replacement, because that's no good. The seal needs to look like that on the other side. Um, this, I don't know what's happened to it, but it looks like a right mess. So I think I'll end up sending that back, because I want to put one on the back here. Here's the surge filter that I've got here. So we're going to end up putting some pipe work that comes round and down and into the pump, and obviously this will go into the box filter that we've got. So essentially that's what we're up to at the moment, guys. Been a really hot day, so it's a small job at a time. There's no rush, there's no competition to get it done as quickly as possible. But yeah, I'm just in the process of sorting this out. At least you can see the shape now, get a rough idea of the size. Um, Remember, guys, I'm running a competition as well. Guess the literage that we'll get when it's fully completed. Obviously, I've got another 2 layers of sleepers to go up by, and then get a liner. If anyone can recommend a reasonably priced liner, someone who's selling a nice quality EPDM liner, it's not too expensive, let me know in the comments, because they're pretty expensive, pretty much. Most of the liners I've looked at are talking £300+. That's a lot of money just for a rubber liner, I guess. But I suppose that's part and parcel of the project. What do you guys think about the size? Do you think it's too big for the garden? Do you think it should have been smaller? I've seen a lot of people are having a lot of problems with herons still. So you just have to be mindful of what you can do to stop the herons. They seem to becoming a nuisance and a problem for a lot of koi keepers now. So what sort of precautions could you take on this pond to stop herons? Well, one would be a net. Hiya Scarfy, good evening mate. 10,000 litres? I don't know about that. Mind you, someone did say 9,800 litres, but I don't think it's going to be quite as that much. If I was to estimate it, I would say something in the region of 6,000 litres. Could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past, guys, so don't take everything I say as gospel. Everyone's human, everyone makes mistakes. So in regards to herons, what I was saying, you could obviously put a net on. You can use chicken wire, mesh. Some people use that. Obviously there's the fishing line that people use, and I'm going to be really blunt with you. I've seen a lot of people use fishing line on their ponds. I've seen enough videos of herons to realise that fishing line doesn't work. It doesn't deter them. If they're dedicated to getting to your pond, fishing line isn't going to work. Some people might think it works, and I hope it does for you. But if you're ever in doubt, set up a CCTV camera and just see if a heron comes and how it deals with the fishing line. But from the videos I've seen, they seem to just step over it. So I don't think fishing line is a very good deterrent. I do think those spray sprinkler systems you can get with a sensor on are a very good idea, very effective, and as long as you can connect it to a hose pipe, I don't think it's too much of a big issue. They're about £80, quite reasonably priced. So that's one method. An electric fence is another method, but not everyone is great with electrics, and you don't want to electrocute yourself or others. So that might be one option that's not really that an easy option for you. Um, there's not really a lot of options for dealing with herons. Um, you know, but this is where we're at the moment. We're getting close to the finishing line. I just need to figure out a way of getting rid of all this soil that I've had to pull out of here. But this gives you a rough idea of the size of the pond. And that's more or less it, really. Um, anyone got anything to say or comments? Anything you want to discuss or want me to address? Just put a message up in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Um, I also have this planter box that I did use for my filter. Um, don't know what I'm going to do with this. Some ideas might be handy. I suppose I could use it as a planter box and just put it somewhere, fill it up with soil and use it as a planter basically. It'd be a shame to just waste it, wouldn't it? And then obviously I've got to sort out all the various pieces of wood that we've got here. It looks a bit of a mess, but I'm going to reuse this underlay that I've got here from the previous pond setup, because it can be quite pricey underlay. Um, and if you're interested, if you do have a traditional pond and you want to put some rocks on your liner but you don't want to damage your liner, cut a little piece of this up and put it on the liner underneath the rock, and it helps cushion the very blurry filming at the koi pond. Um, yeah, some people have been saying my quality has been pretty rubbish, and I'm not sure why. There's nothing to indicate why that would be the case. I did see recently a video I did, and the quality was quite bad. So I might have to figure out what the hell's going on, because I'm just live streaming from my phone. Nothing different to what I have done in the past. However, there is the issue of bandwidth problems on weekends. I think lots of people are on the internet and they are using bandwidth that's affecting these live streams. So if that's the case, I do apologise. I am just showing you the footage. I just wanted to give you an indication of what we've been up to. So that's what we're at the moment. Not much more I can say. So I'm just waiting for the cement to go off underneath the sleepers, because when I levelled it there was a big gap underneath. I'm sorry about the quality if that's the case. I'm not sure what's going on. Um, but if that's the case, I'll just end the stream, since obviously you're having a hard time. I don't know what's going on, but it, the video quality. Thanks, Tony. Um, yeah, I think we're not far off getting this finished. All I've got to do is put the other sleepers that we've got here. Got two beams there and these two small pieces here that will just fit on there, and then just raise it. I'll have to get some more capping wood though. These pieces of capping wood are quite expensive, so I'll have to buy a few more of these and put that back on. But this is just a quick live stream just to show you where I'm at, what I'm up to. Um, I'm still trying to figure out what to do about the piping, because when I put the pipe onto that outlet there for the actual surge, it does seem quite heavy. So I'm not sure how to deal with the weight of the pipe work. Have you guys ever experienced a similar thing where you are connecting pipe work, but you've got nowhere to connect it up to or attach it to a wall? And have you ever been concerned? Decking boards will be cheaper. Yeah. The thing is, these are not normal pieces of wood. Um, they're very expensive as well. Um, but they're like a lot thicker, and they are nice pieces of wood. Don't get me wrong. But I got these from Wickes as I believe some time ago. So I need to source some more out. But they're very expensive. But it's very mindful that you can get some good quality wood from Wickes, and the delivery charge is not very expensive. It's about £15 delivery charge. Oh yeah, yeah, Scarfy, that wood is treated, pressure treated wood. Um, Not your everyday cheap stuff, you know. What I did with these capping pieces of wood though is I also put some wood treatment on myself. Um, I think it's that Curinol stuff. And then what I did is I let it dry for 2 weeks, and then I sand it down as much as possible. The reason I sand it down is to take as much off that hasn't soaked into the wood as possible. So when you do that, it sort of reduces the possibility of having contamination get of the wood preserver getting into your pond. So if you do treat your wood and you paint it, you need to sand it down to remove a lot of the preservatives that you've put into the wood to seal it, um, so you don't have any sort of leakage from your capping wood into the pond water itself. A good thing to do, really, ideally, if you've got the time, is treat it, sand it, and leave it outside to weather for a couple of weeks. And then after a couple of weeks, the natural weather and rain should have removed any sort of contaminants left on that wood, and you should be free to put it onto your pond without any concerns. So that's something to think about when you're putting capping wood on, that if you do put any preserver on the wood, you need to make sure there's no possibility of cross contamination into the water of your pond. And normally, what I tend to do is I sand it down, wipe it down with a rag, and if there's nothing on the rag, it's okay to put on. However, if you see any sort of leakage on your rag, any sort of residue coming off, then you just need to sand it more until you've got enough of the residue off, because not all of it will soak into the wood, um, and you'll be left with like a top coat that needs to be wiped off. Just give it time. What I tend to do is sand it down, and I just leave it on the floor to weather for a couple of weeks, and then after that it should be fine to put on the top with no cross contamination. So that's just a little tip for you guys, you know. Yeah, so it's coming along slowly but surely. My husband capped our pond with marble. Yes, there's very different types of material you can use for capping. Um, I believe you can't use. Well, I don't know if you can. Can you use capping stone on sleepers? I've never thought about doing that. Yeah, that is an option. Tony TM in Koi said you can burn the timber, and that will weatherproofs it. the Japanese call it a name. Um, yeah, I've seen that people burn the wood as well to give it an artistic look, a different look. Um, yeah, I think is it, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a fiberglasser and he does ponds, and he was telling people about how to give it a unique look where you can actually get a some sort of what's the word? You know, something that burns the wood. You know, and give it like a unique weathered look type of look, an old style of look. You can do various things. Um, One thing I was considering is you can clad obviously wood on wood. That goes without saying. But has anyone? Yeah, that's it, mate. Blowtorch. That was the word I was looking for. Sorry, guys. Sometimes you think of a word and it's out of your head, isn't it? Um, and you're trying to search for the word, like the word pigeon, like the other day. And sometimes you have to think. I can't find the word, but I know it. I know it's in the back of my head. But you know, maybe that's just a bit of old age. I don't know. Um, so we're talking about cladding, weren't I? You can clad your wood with wood, obviously. Has anyone been able to clad stone onto wood though? That's not something I've seen done before, because obviously it's hard to um, cladding stone onto wood for a few reasons. One is wood expands and it moves, and another is how would you mount the cladding onto the wood, because obviously you can't just render onto it with mortar. It when you actually put some sort of covering onto wood, that's cladding, which is stone. You need some way of attaching it to it, and most people would mortar onto breeze blocks to put your cladding on. Um, the koi pond says, are you going to put a window in? You know what? I did think about putting a window in. You know, I have thought about putting a window in. It's just the cost of it. It's really expensive. You know, we're talking close to £300 for a decent sized window, and then it's also the hassle of putting it in. And there's a reason the Japanese don't like windows, because obviously it creates a weak point in your pond. You know, a lot of people have criticised my previous video construction when I had a pipe running through the liner there that ran through the sleepers, through the liner, and out and around, and then back out. And I had a pump on the other side over there. And what was happening is the water was being pushed through the pipe and around to the skimmer. Now, some people said you created a weak point there. It's not advisable to do that. Well, it's not to say you can't do that. It is possible. It's just not an ideal thing to do when you've got a liner and you're creating a possibility of a weak point. Obviously, the more holes you've got in your liner, the more chance of it of leaking. So the same is true of a window, you know. And not only that, when you have a window in the winter, it is a exposed area for cold to get in. I've seen some people have cutouts of insulation that they slot in behind where the window is to help insulate the pond a little bit over winter. Um, that's why the Japanese are not that fond of windows. They see it as a bit of a fab. They don't see it as a beneficial thing for their type of business in terms of ponds. But here in Europe, we seem to like the idea of having, um, windows in our ponds. And I'm not dissing anyone that has windows in their ponds because it looks fantastic, being able to see your fish. from a different type of angle. And I don't know, that is something I could do in the future. I could potentially just build it, and then later on down the line, when I've got a bit of money, maybe I could put a window in. But you know, I think it's personal preference if you want a window or not. Um, and I don't know, would it be quite tempting for a herring to fly around and see a window and see some fish and then think, it's also like a big advertisement in it to say to a heron, I've got fish in my pond, come and try your luck. So that's another aspect you need to think about. We have two windows, we don't do anything through the winter to cover them. Um, okay, but I guess you'd probably lose a bit of heat from your window at some, it's just common sense really. If you've got a big piece of glass, it's not very good at insulating anything. Um, Wood, I don't know if you guys know this, but wood is a very good insulator in its own right. You know, a 10 centimeter thick sleeper does insulate your pond quite a lot. And obviously, if you've got a bit of foam on, like I've got a bit over there, obviously that adds a bit more insulation. Um, and in theory, you could build the garage out of wood, and you wouldn't need to put any sort of insulation foam in if you've got really thick pieces of wood. But not everyone can afford thick pieces of wood in their ponds. Sorry, in their garages. So that's why we use insulation foam, because it's far cheaper than lining our buildings with thick pieces of wood. Um, if you're familiar with log cabins, they don't tend to have a lot of insulation because the wood is extremely thick, because they use full thickness um, trees, basically to create a log cabin. So you don't really need insulation in certain climates when you've got a thick log cabin, you know. But yeah, going back to that, wood is a good insulator in its own right, especially thick sleepers, which are 10 centimeters thick. So yeah, this is what I'm up to at the moment. I'm just waiting for those that have just come on. I'm just waiting for the cement to go off underneath these sleepers because I need to raise the level a little bit because there's a bit of a fall on the pathway here. It falls off that a little bit over there. So there was about that much of a gap underneath that I had to fill with cement, and this is a little job I've been putting off because it was so time consuming. Getting the sleepers in, getting them level, putting the cement underneath, then I've got to wait for the cement to go off before I can do anything else really, because I want to make sure it's nice and stable before I start putting in the other sections in. So that's what we're up to at the moment. So is anyone else doing some bits of DIY on their ponds? Let me know in the comments or the chat, what you're up to these days. Um, so what else can we talk about? Um, so all my fittings that I'm using is pressure pipe. It is incredibly thick stuff. And if you would like to know how to cut pressure pipe, the easiest way, in that typical, it bloody rains. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why it keeps doing this. I keep losing connection. It's been really bad lately. But yeah, I'm just talking about pressure pipe. It's quite thick stuff, this. Alright, and if you want to cut this straight, there's many ways you can try and cut it. You can use circular saws. You can use hacksaws. I highly recommend you do not use a hacksaw though. DWP, I'm actually using my phone, mate, not my camera. I can't quite understand I think what it was is I went into the garage and for some reason it cut the signal. That's probably what happened, Scarfy. Yeah, so I just want to talk about pipe. Best way of cutting pipe. So this is the high quality PVC pressure pipe. It's really thick stuff. Now you can cut this using various things, such as a hacksaw, which I don't recommend because it'll give you an angled cut, which you don't want. Also, you can use circular saws or grinders, but you don't always get a straight cut. I find the best way of getting a straight cut is using a normal wood saw. Use a normal wood saw. That's the best way of cutting pipe. I've used those pipe cutters as well, which they tend to crush the pipe, not cut it properly. So pipe cutters, I wouldn't advise them. Just a wood saw is the best way of cutting pipe, in my opinion. So I do apologise. DWP Koi said, for someone that has a camera channel as well, this filming is shocking. You can't see anything. It's a blurred and obscure. Well, I do apologise for that. It's just for some reason signal has been bad lately. For some reason I can't understand why. I can't see what the quality is like while filming on my phone, so I do apologise for that. But I'm just showing you what I've been doing. And you know what? It's just started to rain. Can you believe that? You know, it's been burning me all day and now it's raining. Yeah, well, I hope it's a lot better at the koi pond. It's starting to bloody rain. Can you believe that? But yeah, I just gotta wait for this cement to go off. I put these returns in. So not these returns. I put these bulkhead attachments that you put onto the pipe. So this one is for my overflow. This one here is for the pump. This one here is for my return, and I got another return there. And then obviously we got the skimmer. So if the quality is better, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just explain the skimmer a little bit. Some people have problems with this section here inside leaking. If you're having a problem with your Cottony Koi skimmer leaking, just tighten these screws up and that should eliminate the leak. It's always a good idea though to put some silicone where the actual gasket is and the join is, just to give it a bit of a better seal, because I had a problem with this and I originally thought it was the seal on this side with the liner, so I relined it all, re-siliconed it all, and I still had a leak. So that was the culprit basically, the middle section there. So if you do have a problem with the Cottony Koi skimmer and it is leaking on the inside, whether it be blocks or on a sleeper pond, it's likely to be these screws have come loose. So just tighten those and you should sort that problem out. So I thought I'd just discuss that. I've got some more XPS foam. This is the underground foam sheets that I get from eBay or Amazon. They're not expensive, they're cheap, and they're easy just to put on and glue. So essentially that's what I've been doing today. So hopefully you found this informative on what I've been up to. Just sorting out these sleepers so they are all level, and then it's ready to put the other two sleepers on and get this finished. So So that's what I'm up to in terms of the pond extension, and just making it a bit bigger really. What do you guys think? Do you think I should extend the roof though? Because what I could potentially do is put a post on here, post there that goes up, and then get another piece of polycarbonate that joins across, you know, to add a bit more of a roof on here. Or we could even make the roof much bigger. Well, it's just something I'm toying with at the moment. Not sure what to do next, but anyway, that's what I've been up to. I'll leave it there. Thank you for coming on, guys, and I'll see you in the next one in terms of the next project I do.